It must suck to be a Leafs fan right now. It probably feels just as bad to be cheering for the Leafs. Not cheering for the Leafs, to be exasperated by the Leafs, to be frustrated by the Leafs. You're watching this team and you're thinking, over the last couple of years, they've been building something. They've got Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, William Nylander, John Tavares. Hyman is a strong physical player. Morgan Riley, Kerfoot. But they don't have a solid, reliable goaltender. And they don't seem to have much of an identity other than being a team that has a lot of offensive skill that struggles to really put it together. It looked like they had figured it out this season, but like a lot of critics had pointed out, you're playing in probably the worst division in the league. Ottawa is just awful. Ottawa's basically an AHL team. Calgary has been up and down. Montreal, up and down. Vancouver is definitely in a transition year, dealing with injuries and coming off this. Of course, you've heard so much already by now. This is a team that was ravaged by COVID, that has missed so much time, and they were expected to get blown out, and they didn't. The Canucks played together. They played like a team. Horvat and Miller led the way, but of course, you have to give all the credit to Holtby in that first game. He was unbelievable. He was really strong this game too, but the Canucks played a strong game. The Canucks came out strong in this game. It took Toronto until about the second period to start looking dangerous and really get their offense flowing. Toronto is just they're not able to establish dominance or impose their will for big stretches. They can score, like an all-star team can score, but goals in this league are scored not always in a pretty way, especially in the playoffs. And you're going to have to learn how to win defensive games, you're going to have to learn how to win tight games. And it just seems like the Leafs don't have the proper team makeup to do that. And they've tried bringing in more toughness, more grit. They've brought in veterans. And they've been trying to bring in goalies. Now, the Leafs have lost 5 in a row, including these 2 against the Canucks. And in that 5-game losing stretch, it's been all goaltending. Their save percentage has been below 900. But their defense is not helping them out either. The Canucks are banging in rebound goals. Pearson had a big rebound goal tonight. Höglander had a nice sort of a pass type rebound goal where these guys are just left alone in the crease. Tonight, when the game was 2-2, it felt like the Leafs were going to run away with it. They got a shorthanded goal after the Canucks power play. Miller fumbled it. Horvat couldn't recover it. Hughes was slightly out of position. They raced back. The Canucks didn't get control of the puck in the defensive zone. Holtby was tracking another Leaf out of his crease. Horvat had turned around. It was just a nightmare. And if you've been watching these videos I've done before, I'm usually quite critical and I bear down on a lot of different details, and I don't cut the Canucks any slack because I want the Canucks to become a Stanley Cup team. And if you don't focus on those little details and every little thing that needs to be changed and improved, you're never going to become a championship team. But obviously, coming off of COVID variant, and the long pause in between and not able to practice, or you can't work out when you're on the COVID protocol. And then having this insane schedule to finish off the season, I was just going to completely change how I'm looking at these games. You have to. I was ready to just gear up and watch them lose and hopefully see some young players and see what they have to do. I mean, the rest of these 19 games, I wanted to see Chatfield, Uelevi, Rathbone, maybe Brogan Rafferty get another chance. I know we're not going to see Podkolzin, but maybe Cole Lind. And I was happy just seeing that. And just getting ready to ship out the rest of these other not ship out, but not re-sign guys that are going to be on expiring contracts. But the North Division is so terrible that the Canucks could, if they go on a good run against Ottawa, and they've got 4 in a row against Ottawa, and the Canucks have had Ottawa's number, and Ottawa's severely lacking in talent, but is coached pretty well. They have embarrassed Vancouver. They did last season anyway. I was at the game. It sucked. But Ottawa's sort of looked a little bit better. It's hard to say. They're still in last place in the division. Okay, scratch that. Ottawa hasn't, and the Canucks have been good against them. They could come out of this and somehow get that final playoff spot. The team has bought in. They're talking about it. Hughes mentioned on the post-game show, or the post-game interview, this is the post-game show, and he wasn't on it. But in the post-game conference, he's talking about how they're excited to be in the playoff hunt. And he talked about getting a taste of the playoffs last year. The team is gunning for it. They're competitors. They're world-class competitors. Well, maybe not the Maple Leafs goaltending. Maple Leafs goaltending. Good Lord. They thought they had found a new savior in Campbell. He got a lot of press for having 10 wins in a row. Not in a row for the team, but himself having 10 wins in a row. And it looked like maybe they'd finally found their person, but they're so ready to quickly anoint somebody as their goaltender. Unless they actually have a good one like Tuukka Rask and they trade him away for Andrew Raycroft. Good Lord. And Gustafsson has been kind of up and down. Who are they going to go with now? They got Michael Hutchinson in there. And Dave Rittich, they just picked up at the trade deadline from Calgary. The backup to Kiprusoff. Not Kiprusoff. The backup to Markstrom. And boy, did he look terrible. That Pearson goal he let in. Pearson coming down the left wing. By the way, this was a great effort by Pearson on the goal. He strips the puck from a Leaf in the neutral zone, blows past him, which is not great. You don't want Tanner Pearson to be blown past you, but he does. He gets past another Leaf to streak down the left wing. There's yet another Leaf in between him and the goalie. He's got no angle, no passing option. He looks to do a wrist shot. It almost looks like he kind of flubs it a bit because it stays directly on the ice. Rittich never completely goes down to commit to save it. By the time he does, his left pad just catches it and it angles it into his own 5-hole. The Höglander goal, same thing. Höglander coming down that left wing, has no passing option, no angle. And Höglander, this is why I love Höglander. There are probably guys that were drafted in the same year as Höglander who have a better slap shot. But Höglander knows that in the NHL, you've got to get those shots off quick. And he does. Even though there was a Maple Leaf defender with a stick there, and if he would have taken a half second longer to get that shot off, that Maple Leaf defending stick would have definitely deflected it and put it up into the stands. But nope, he got it off real quick, caught everybody off guard, right through the 5-hole. Just brutal. At one point in this game, it was 2-2, and the Leafs got that shorthanded goal after the Canucks power play had their meltdown, and that made it 3-2. At that point, it felt like, okay, the momentum is with the Leafs. The Canucks are looking a bit shaky. The Leafs are starting to play their game, but that was when Höglander did his magic down the left wing with that slap shot, and it was tied up. Now, the Leafs, at that moment, felt like they totally lost their momentum, and you could just feel like, the goaltending is going to be a problem here. Then the Leafs take a useless cross-checking penalty soon after. I think it was Engvall on, I think, Jace Hawryluk behind the Leafs net. This isn't like taking down Matthews with a hook. You're cross-checking Hawryluk. This is why I love Hawryluk. He gets in deep. He's a tough guy. He's smart. I love him on the fourth line. And not on the third line, but I love him on the fourth line. And on that penalty, the Canucks score a power play goal, made it 4-3. I think that was that really nice one where Pearson just stood in front of the net and banged in the rebound. The Leafs have a lot of skill, and when you let them play their game, they look pretty scary, on the rush and cycling around. But man, they just are not able to look dominant. It's like the Boston Bruins. On paper, they're really lacking a lot of top end skill, but they have the Bruins are basically the opposite. They have a killer goalie. They play a good team game, and they just know how to win. And that's really what it's all about. It's about winning, and the Bruins just know how to win a third period, how to close out a game. And the Leafs are just not that. They've got the talent, but they have not found that elusive chemistry. The empty net in the third period had more saves than Dave Rittich in that third period. Brock was just about at the blue line and he missed. So he loses his most accurate shooter trophy. You have to give that up. Pearson had a chance for a hat trick at center ice, missed. Horvat missed from center ice. Brandon Sutter, however, buries it from half ice after Schmidt did some great defensive work, killing a penalty to end the game. Sutter scores. It's 6-3. Sutter with 2 goals and Pearson with 2 goals. That's all you got to hear to know that, yikes, goalie had a bad game. Leafs defenseman didn't help him out. But, I mean, what did you expect? You know, and you see something like this, and, man, the Canucks played well. Their systems were working well. You can definitely tell there's a lack of their top-end skill on the ice. You know, you don't see a lot of speed, and when you do see it, when you do see those laser passes and a bit of, like, Virtanen had a nice speedy rush, and took me by surprise, because I'm just used to watching... Over the last 2 games, I'm used to watching a much more pedestrian Canuck team of Michaelis's and Howerluck and Brandon Sutter, and it just seems like everybody's been moving at the same speed, but they're moving as one and they're playing well and they're supporting each other. These guys are, it's crazy. The Leafs have the skill and they're not able to play together. The Canucks are lacking skill all over the place because of injuries, because of COVID, because of just not having a very deep team to begin with, even on the best of circumstances, but they played together, and I guess you'd have to give Travis Green credit for that. The team looked great. He put some lines together that worked really well. I mean, who knows? Maybe it's not the coach. Maybe it's the players on the ice pulling together. You know, we saw the way Horvat led in the last game, in Miller and Holtby. Goaltending is big, and it's hard to find a solid, reliable goaltender. You see nights like this where Holtby steals you a game, and then Holtby plays well enough to win you this game, and Rittich completely disintegrates to lose you this game. And it just makes me so happy to know that we've got Demko, who nothing is guaranteed, of course, especially with goaltending, but everything Demko's done in the last, okay, not everything, but what we've seen of Demko this season and last season's playoffs, if he can play solid to above average for $5 million a year, you love it. That's exactly what every team is going to need and what the Leafs would just kill for. The Leafs are probably regretting not grabbing Holtby in the offseason. The Canucks grabbed him as just a backup and maybe somebody that the Kraken could take. Actually, this is great. If Holtby has a really strong end of the season, then the Kraken will probably take him in the expansion draft. Well, not probably. There's a lot of goalies out there to take. I think Hudobin is going to be available. Vegas still has sort of a two-headed goalie situation, and I believe Fleury's been playing really well this season, so I don't know what they're going to do there, but I think, do they still have Robin Lehner and Fleury? There's a lot of goalies out there, but it would be nice if Holtby did just finish off strong for himself, and yeah, maybe for the Kraken to take him, because I feel like the Canucks are going to protect Myers. I wish they wouldn't. It'd be great to get his salary off the books. I'd be so pissed if they leave Mott or Cole Lind exposed and they get taken, or a good young defenseman, because the thing is right now the Canucks absolutely need more defensemen. They need mobile defensemen. They need defensive defensemen. They just need guys that can play in the top four. And right now, you don't know who's going to be that reliable top four guy moving forward. Is Uelevi going to establish himself? Chatfield, who looked pretty good tonight. I like Chatfield. He's got good size. Not necessarily a big physical guy, but he has good range. He's good with his stick. He's quick, fairly responsible. Looks very confident out there. I thought Uelevi looked really confident. We're going to see Rathbone, hopefully by the end of the season. They called him up, so he's got to go through all kinds of protocols. But you don't know which one of those guys is going to be the best. Anaheim totally screwed up. They bet on the wrong young defenseman, and I can't remember who they kept, but everybody remembers that they let Shea Theodore go unprotected and go over to Vegas, and he's ended up being their top defenseman ever since they got him. Well, him and Schmid. So you just don't want to see like Uelevi, Chatfield. Actually, Chatfield's pretty young. I don't know who they'll have to protect. Anyways, I would just be pissed if they let some young defensemen go before they really knew what they had in them. So, a heck of a game. A great effort. Happy for the Canucks to get these wins and to start off this grueling marathon / sprint they need to do to pull off the end of the season to make the NHL happy that they've played these games. So I'm happy for them. I would feel worse for Maple Leaf fans if it wasn't so hilarious on the outside with what they're doing. But those are my thoughts. Let me know yours. Thank you very much for watching. I'll talk to you after the next game.